Silverstone. It is hot, it is very muggy indeed, and there is what must surely be a record crowd to see the Marlborough British Grand Prix of 1979. Down there on the grid, the 40 competitors who will be taking part and who have been driving in qualifying practice sessions for the last 2 days. Fastest on the grid, Kenny Roberts, the American on the Yamaha. But good news is that both the new and innovatory Hondas are in the race. There is the front row of the grid, and every one of those riders are amongst the 40 who have said that next year they may well be riding in a special World Series of races instead of the Grand Prix. Fastest at the bottom, Kenny Roberts, then Cecotto, the Venezuelan. Number 3 is Will Hartog, the Dutch rider. And Kenny Roberts by far the fastest in practice. Indeed, he went round at 129.81 miles an hour, and that is a speed of some 116 miles an hour. There is Barry Sheene, who with a tremendous burst in the last practice session went round 5th fastest after having previously only been 13th fastest. Next to him, the man who is second in the World Championship, number 11, Virginio Ferrari on the Suzuki. There, nearest the camera, number 19, Christian Saron, the French rider, recovering from a broken limb earlier this season, and he was 7th fastest in practice. In that front rank, there are, or should be, 8 competitors. Yes, there are, because Graziano Rossi, the Italian, who was leading the 250cc race, and this is the warm-up lap, this is not yet the start, as you see the plumes of blue exhaust smoke pouring out from the exhaust pipes of these 100% two-stroke engines, except, of course, for the 2 magnificent new V4 cylinder Honda machines ridden by Takazumi Katayama and Yorkshire's Mick Grant. So this is the warm-up lap. The conditions here, unlike last year, when after the race had started there was a cloudburst, as a result of which there was chaos at the end of the race and a lot of dissension about who had won. But today, thus far, the conditions are absolutely perfect. We have heard, and that is Barry Sheene going round the left-hander down towards Hangar Straight and onto Stowe Corner. We have heard that there is rain at Birmingham, which is not so far away from here at Silverstone. But overhead, although it's overcast, there are plenty of patches of blue sky. That's Barry Sheene on the 125 horsepower 500cc Suzuki. There, the Dutchman, Will Hartog, number 3, who has won Grand Prix this year. He won at Hockenheim, the German Grand Prix. Sheene on the Suzuki. And amongst that batch of riders going now, of course, the brilliant Kenny Roberts from America, the reigning world champion, appropriately enough, therefore, number 1 on his 4-cylinder Yamaha machine, tuned by Kel Carruthers, ex-world champion himself. I see Tony Rutter, the British rider, going round there. That's the warm-up lap, almost completed. They are, of course, all on slick tyres, which means no tread pattern at all. And you will see that at Woodcote Corner, as we look down on it, unlike the car Grand Prix, there is no chicane. And that means that Woodcote is by far the fastest corner on the circuit. Indeed, 5th gear and some 130 miles an hour. Stop engines. Alan Robinson holds up the stop engines board, and the front rank of this tremendously imposing lineup for what could well be the crucial race in the 500cc World Championship of this year contains 8 riders. Kenny Roberts, Johnny Cecotto from Venezuela, Will Hartog from Holland, Virginio Ferrari from Italy, Barry Sheene, England, Ikujiro Takai, the Japanese rider, Christian Saron, the Frenchman, and Graziano Rossi, the Italian, on the Morbidelli. 28 laps and 82 miles, and Cecotto is actually right at the back of that assembly of people at the moment because he is having some sort of trouble. The Japanese mechanics are working frantically on his machine. There is Cecotto, and he's having a last-minute top-up of petrol because it is absolutely crucial in this race Just half a pint of petrol could make all the difference. Kenny Roberts is just to the left of Cecotto there. Now, where that marshal is scrubbing the track and putting down concrete dust is where Roberts' bike was standing. Now, that looks very ominous indeed. Let us not be alarmist. But there is obviously trouble with Kenny Roberts. Can Barry Gill give us any news? He's down there.
I'm standing next to the most worried World Championship leader you could ever wish to see at this stage of the race, Murray. Kenny Roberts is helping to clean that tyre scrub. There's oil spraying everywhere. He's had to clean his boots. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mechanics working on the bike. Kenny Roberts cleaning both his boots and the bike. There is oil on the back of the thing, and Murray, there is a major problem here for the World Championship leader with oil spraying from this engine.
That is dramatic news indeed. Kenny Roberts, who leads the World Championship, who won in Austria and in Italy, in Spain, in Yugoslavia, and is now 7 points ahead of Virginio Ferrari, starts the race in a very uneasy frame of mind. There was oil on the back of his bike, oil on his boots. He comes up into the lineup alongside Johnny Cecotto, the reigning 1979 750cc world champion, alongside Will Hartog, who won at Hockenheim. And next to Will Hartog is Ferrari, who won at Assen and is only 7 points behind Roberts. 15 points for a World Championship win, 12 points for second place, 10 points for third position, and so on down to 1 point for 10th place. So before the British Grand Prix has even started, there is drama. The warm-up lap has been completed. 1 minute to go is Vernon Cooper's board sign. And the race will start on a green light. At 10 seconds to go, the riders will look to their half left. Just coming into the picture, you will see a special gantry. There it is, with 2 red lights above 2 green lights. With 10 seconds to go, the red lights come on. When the race starts, the green lights go on, and that's it. 28 laps, a distance of 82 miles. A worried Kenny Roberts. Barry Sheene has changed the suspension on his machine from yesterday's practice, and he is much more confident than he was at this time yesterday before the last practice began. Watch those lights. When the red ones go on, there will be 10 seconds to go. Go! And from Woodcote, and look at Barry Sheene doing an absolutely monumental wheelie as the front wheel reared right up and they go down to Cox, lap 1. It's Hartog, it's Will Hartog, the lightning starter. Will Hartog in the white leathers, the Dutch grass farmer, on a Suzuki, and behind him is Ferrari, and behind Ferrari is Barry Sheene in third position, and Sheene going up into second place. What a magnificent start, but Ferrari doesn't take that, and he's back into second place as they go round the right-hander at Beckett's, down to Chapel Curve, the left-hander, and it is still Hartog, who has made as good a start in the British Grand Prix as he made in the German Grand Prix, which he won. And down and fire! Fire! I can't see who the rider is because the smoke has obscured him. But the fire extinguishers will be out already. There is a machine down. It's a question of whether it's Mick Grant. My goodness, it's Mick Grant on the Honda. A bitterly, bitterly disappointed Mick Grant, who fortunately looks all right. And the new Honda V4 of Mick Grant, who has done so much in Japan to get that machine going for this race, is out of the race on the very first lap. Up to Woodcote, and this is the very fast fifth gear 130-mile-an-hour bend, and it is Dutchman Will Hartog leading. Ferrari is second and Sheene is third, and Van Dulman, the Dutchman, is fourth, and Kenny Roberts is fifth, and Steve Parish is in sixth position. Seb Hartog, Ferrari, Sheene, Van Dulman, the Dutchman, who won in Finland. And these machines are producing some 120 to 125 horsepower. And Barry Sheene has got the bit between his teeth. This is the third British Grand Prix. 1976 was the first. It was won by Pat Hemmon. last year by Kenny Roberts. And so Sheen, who has moved up into second place, has never won the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and he means to. Down Hanger Straight. Sheen and Ferrari. Sheen, who is in third position in the World Championship. Ferrari, who is in second place. And Kenny Roberts, the leader, is behind them and is indeed only in sixth position at the end of the first lap. And this is the leader. Hartog, Sheen, Ferrari, Van Doorman and Kenny Roberts catching. Kenny Roberts is up to fourth place. And there, behind Kenny Roberts, that's Graziano Rossi, number 44, in the white leathers with the green and red stripes of Italy. Will Hartog at the end of lap 2. The Flying Dutchman leads and Barry Sheen is in second place. And the gap between Hartog, the leader, and Barry Sheen in second place, with Ferrari third, Roberts up to fourth place, and Van Doorman back to fifth, is 1.75 seconds. There it is. Hartog, Sheen, Ferrari, and right with Ferrari is the determined American Kenny Roberts, who does not, after all, seem to be so worried about that oil. There's Sheen, heels it over into the left-hander, followed by Ferrari. In his wheel tracks, number 1, Kenny Roberts, the world champion, Yamaha. Into the pits has gone the young American Randy Mamola, so his race is effectively over because you cannot afford to go into the pits in motorcycle racing. And now this is Kenny Roberts setting about Ferrari, and look at the speed of that Yamaha, because Roberts goes straight past Virginio Ferrari and takes third position and is now closing right up on Barry Sheen. Now the action will really begin, because Barry Sheen will know as soon as he sees the distinctive wheel of Yamaha, and this is the yellow flag out, and the yellow flag is out at Copse, which is, I believe, where Steve Parish has come off. Steve Parish on the Suzuki, and they're frantically working concrete into the oil to reduce the slippage, indeed to stop the slippage, as they come into Woodcote on lap 3 out of 28, and Hartog is leading. Sheen is second and Roberts is now up into third position. The gap between Hartog first and Sheen second is 0.47 seconds. The yellow flag's waving. Watch it, lads. There's oil on the track is what it says. And they skirt it. Hartog, Sheen, that's number 1, Kenny Roberts. And look at the fight for first position now. Those three are pulling away from the fourth place man, Dutchman Bert Van Doorman, who won in Finland and who is well up in the World Championship, is chasing these three. Hartog, the lightning starter, is being worn down, and Sheen's going to take him soon as they come up to Chapel on lap 4 out of 28. There's going to be a new leader soon. Is it going to be Roberts? Is it going to be Sheen? Because it's 1, 2 and 3 together. Hartog tucked right into the plastic bubble, the windscreen in front of him. Stowe corner. Third gear, up at 9,400 RPM, up into fifth gear, 150 miles an hour, down to club corner, down into third gear, 100 miles an hour. Hartog, Sheen, Roberts trying to ride round the outside of number 7, Barry Sheen. And Roberts is weaving from left to right. And he's going to try and take Sheen again as they come up to Abbey. This is a 150-mile-an-hour section as they go under the bridge and down into Woodcote. Is there going to be a change of position? Yes, Roberts is going to take second place. Or is he? Roberts is second, but for how long? Hartog eases out to the left as he lines it up for Cox, the right-hander, down into second gear. And it's still Hartog, Sheen, Roberts. Behind Kenny Roberts in fourth position, it's still Bert Van Doorman, the Dutchman. There he is in the background. Virginio Ferrari is there too. And Roberts again challenges. Is he testing Barry Sheen? Is he just showing him his front wheel? If he is, he's doing it to the wrong man, and he will know it, because Barry Sheen is not a rider to be rattled. And look at the symmetry of these riders as they bank to left and right, and they're going down Hanger Straight now at 160 miles an hour, and Roberts takes it. Roberts uses his superior power and blasts past into the lead. Kenny Roberts then, the world champion, who has already won 4 events this year, is the new leader on lap 5 out of 28 in the Marlborough British Grand Prix. Takazumi Katayama is in the pits, and that's the second of the 2 Hondas. Mick Grant out on the very first lap. Katayama and Sheen challenging Hartog for second place as they come down to Woodcote at the end of lap 5. And Hartog's going to retake the lead. And he does so, and a great roar goes up from the crowd. This Dutchman is tremendously popular with the British crowd, this gigantic British crowd. And we're seeing a British Grand Prix, the like of which we haven't seen for a very long time. Because just behind these 3 are Virginio Ferrari, second place in the World Championship. Roberts looks over his shoulder. There's Ferrari. And behind Ferrari, who is 4th, it's Van Dulman. And Hartog leads. Hartog leads. Sheen is in second place, and Kenny Roberts is in 3rd. And you could put a stopwatch on them, and I've just done so, and the gap between 1st and 3rd is 0.52 seconds, or it was then. Chappell, hanger straight. This is where Roberts took the lead on the previous lap, but they will both know it, and he's doing it again. Look at the way he's gaining, but he leaves his challenge a bit too late. You don't break much for Stowe, but you do come up out of the bubble and give a bit more wind resistance by lifting your shoulders and your head out into that 150-mile-an-hour breeze. That just slows you enough to avoid touching the brakes or going down a gear. And now into club and out of club. Now up through the gears into 6th gear to Abbey Curve and 10,000 RPM and 135 and now 160 miles an hour. Under the bridge at the end of lap 6, absolutely together. Hartog leads, number 3. Sheen second, number 7. Roberts third, number 1. Another lap completed. And 21 still to go. With Ferrari in 4th place, Van Dulman in 6th position. Behind Van Dulman in 6th place, it's Cecotto who is 7th. Uncini who is in 8th position. And behind Uncini in 9th position, Christian Saron, the Frenchman. The leader. And the second place now. Sheen leads. Barry Sheen goes through. Marvellous bit of overtaking. Just slid through on the inside of Hartog. And look at the wobble on that bike. Barry Sheen was not at all happy with the handling of his machine in the first 3 sessions of practice. So for the last session, they took a drastic step. Changed the front forks to air springing, and Hartog goes through. A tremendous ding-dong battle between 3 of the top riders today, Hartog, Sheen and Roberts, for mastery and the 15 points in the World Championship. Each of them implicitly and absolutely trusting the other 2, because you can't do this sort of neck-and-neck riding unless you do so. The leaders, 3, 7 and 1, go round the left-hander. That's the left-hander at Maggots. Down into 2nd gear, 7,500 RPM, the slowest corner on the course. A mere 60 miles an hour, but that's very quick. Up through the gears to 3rd, 11,000 RPM, 115 miles an hour. This is where Roberts will challenge again. He's past Sheen, he's winding on the power, but Hartog says, oh, no, you don't, and Barry Sheen says the same thing, and Kenny Roberts is still in 3rd position on lap 8 of the British Grand Prix. Suzuki leads, 4-cylinder, transverse across the frame, 2-stroke. Suzuki 2nd, Yamaha 3rd. Yamaha with a unique feature, a power valve, which adjusts the carburation for the engine as the power builds up. But now Roberts dropping back just a little as they approach the point on the course at Woodcote, where he's closed before, and he does so again on braking. They are taking Woodcote, believe it or not, at 130 miles an hour. They go up to 150 miles an hour here as they go down through the gears to Copse. Hartog, Sheen and Roberts round Copse. Up to 6th gear, 145 miles an hour here. Putting 125 horsepower through a contact patch on the road through the rear tyre, which is no bigger than your hand. And that's where perfect timing, superlative reflexes, and absolute mastery of the machine occur from these three. Hartog, who comes from Aberkek in Holland, a grass farmer. There's Roberts going through. Just for how long? Now, Roberts in 2nd place. But there is a fantastic cat and mouse game going on between these three. Neither willingly giving an inch to the other, each trusting the other two. And I do have a feeling, nevertheless, that Kenny Roberts, notwithstanding the fact that he must have started the race in a worried state of mind with oil on the rear of his machine, has got the upper hand here. Simply because there is something about the way he is running that makes me think, and did Roberts' hand off the throttle there? His knee comes out. Hartog is a bit of a distance away. They're closing up on a tail ender now. And Sheen is right behind Roberts. And the tail ender is Ron Haslam, who I hadn't expected to start because he came off in practice and did himself a power of no good. Hartog leading. This is lap 10 out of 28. And now Hartog easing away a little, making my prophecy about Kenny Roberts look a little wrong as he does so, because Hartog has for the first time got a discernible lead. But this is where, going down Hanger Straight, Kenny Roberts, time after time, has managed to feed through more power through the twist grip under his right hand and gain on the Suzukis in front of him. And he's done so as he comes into Woodcote Corner, into Stowe Corner, out of it 3rd gear, up the very fast stretch, down to Club, 3rd gear. Hartog, Sheen in 3rd position. Roberts sandwiched between the two of them. Ferrari is still in 4th place. Van Dulman is still in 5th place. In 6th position, it is still 79 750cc Cecotto. Then behind Cecotto, and Roberts leads into Woodcote. Now, as the roar goes up from the crowd, who are seeing some magnificent motorcycle racing, it's very, very seldom that you see as close a scrap as this for the lead. Barry Sheen comes out of Roberts' slipstream. You notice the way that they are studiously avoiding that patch of concrete dust on the corner at Copse, because they know that underneath it is oil. And watch too, Virginio Ferrari, number 11, in 4th place, because although he's about 2 seconds behind Barry Sheen, who is 3rd, he's not dropping back at all. Roberts has got the first opportunity to break, because he's coming into Hanger Straight in 1st position with a clear road in front of him, and this is where he will really wind on the power to try and break the toe between himself, Hartog, who is 2nd, Sheen, who is 3rd, and clear off. But it's highly doubtful that he'll be able to do it the way these other two are riding. Will Hartog, 31 years old. Barry Sheen, number 7, 27 years old. Kenny Roberts, number 1, 28 years old. Not much in it as far as age is concerned. And Roberts right off the circuit, over the line. He will have lost a fraction of a second there. That shows you how very, very hard Kenny and Will Hartog and that man, Barry Sheen, are trying. Woodcote, the end of lap 11. Hartog in the white leathers. Kenny Roberts in the yellow outfit. And the gap between Kenny Roberts, Ferrari through in 4th place. Sheen up into 2nd position out of Hartog's slipstream. Van Dulman is still 5th. And then, although it's of academic interest, and Sheen riding up onto the curbing there. A long, long way back is Christian Saron, as Kenny Roberts now in the lead on lap 12. sweeps round the right-hander at Beckett's, flicks it to the left for Chapel Curve, and Barry Sheene, who some people here were saying at practice didn't stand a chance in the British Grand Prix because he was so far down in practice, certainly misjudged their man. Look at his riding style with the knee out, and Barry himself says that his riding style is not good for Silverstone. The way to ride at Silverstone, Barry says, is the way Kenny Roberts is riding. And look at Roberts now, tucked right into the bubble, right down over the machine. And if you can keep your knee in, Barry Sheene says, you are at an advantage at Silverstone. And he says, I can't do that. He can't do it because he injured himself very gravely at Daytona some years ago, and Barry Sheene quite literally cannot sit on bike as squarely as the other riders do. And it does cost him a fraction of a second, lap by lap. But you wouldn't think it to see the way that he's chasing Kenny Roberts now, and the two of them are pulling away inch by inch from Hartog, and Sheene is once more challenging. Every lap, though, from 1 to 9, Will Hartog led. Laps 10, 11 and 12, Kenny Roberts led. I have a shrewd suspicion that Barry Sheene now is pressuring Kenny Roberts so hard that he will slip through somewhere and take the lead, maybe as they come up to lap these tail-enders in front of them. They're going past now, they've been past George Fogarty, that's number 35. And just see the way that Kenny Roberts goes past those midfield tail, and he's going past now. Number 49 there was Keith Hewen, no mean rider himself. And Kenny Roberts goes past him, I should think, at least 10 miles an hour quicker. Now, we can't see Sheene in the picture. Yes, we can. There he is. So Sheene has cleared those midfield men. They're lapping well up the field now. They are on lap 13. They are almost halfway through this race. And the story of the race thus far is three men. Roberts, there he is, into Woodcote, 130 miles an hour. A flick of his foot as he goes down a gear. Sheene chasing him. The gap between Roberts and Sheene is 0.79 seconds. 79 100ths of a second only between that man, number 7, Barry Sheene in second place, and the man in front of him, Kenny Roberts, who looks again over his shoulder, and there he sees the red and black Suzuki with the yellow background and the black number 7 on it, and that's a big problem for Roberts because Barry Sheene is not easily shaken off. Roberts. Round Chapel into Hangar Straight. This is the half distance, lap 14 out of 28. And where is Will Hartog in the white leathers, the Dutchman in third position? It's a breakaway now for Roberts and Sheene. Hartog third. Ferrari is in fourth position. In fifth place, it is still Bert van Dolmen. In sixth position, it is still Christian Saron, the Frenchman. And there was a quick look at Hartog as they go round the left-hander at Abbey. 150 miles an hour, building up speed. Now underneath the bridge, down through the gears, from 6th to 5th. Keep it in 5th for Woodcote. Keep the power on. 10,000 RPM as they clear it. 135 miles an hour. There is Roberts and Sheene into Cox Corner. Where is the third place man? That's him. That's Will Hartog. Now, number 11, Ferrari, is fourth. And Sheene, meantime, has closed right up on Kenny Roberts. Johnny Cecotto, who was for so long in 6th position, has slipped down through the field to 9th position, and now he is into the pits. And now Sheene doing it. It could well be that Barry Sheene, yes, at the end of the lap, and the crowd rises, the crowd roars, and Barry Sheene leads at the end of lap 15 with another 13 to go, including the one they're on in this 28-lap race. Now I think Sheen has got the measure of Roberts. It's easy to say that. I said earlier on that Roberts was riding a tactical race. These two are pressing each other so hard that the race could well go to either of them. Roberts up alongside Sheen's back wheel, and Sheen, with that awkward stance of his, comes out of the saddle, gets his weight over on the right. His knee comes out. The crowd are waving him on as he goes into Chapel. Now this is the Roberts quick bit. Let's see if Roberts is going to challenge Sheen for the lead now. He's inching up on him. Is he going to get past before they have to change down for Stowe? The answer is no. Barry Sheene, who said to me yesterday, I'm going to ride as fast as I possibly can, but I'm not going to stick my neck out, I'm not going to risk anything for anyone, is therefore riding well within his limits, which are so much higher than almost anybody else's. One of the few exceptions, of course, is the man right behind him, Kenny Roberts. As they come up now to yet another tail ender, they're going through the rest of the field like a hot knife through butter, down to Woodcote. Is Sheen going to pass the tail ender before they come to Woodcote or after? And the answer is after. Sheen goes straight past the Norwegian rider, Swedish rider, Peter Soderstrom, and so does Kenny Roberts. Down to Copse. Will Hartog dropping back all the time. So the Dutchman is either tired himself, and it's quite... And look at that! Barry Sheene, with absolute effrontery, not only looks over his shoulder, but takes his left clutch hand off the handlebar and waves to Kenny Roberts. And cares Kenny Roberts' answer? Don't you wave at me, young man, because this is what will happen to you. And Kenny Roberts has blasted past Sheen, who goes straight down behind the fairing now. The battle is well and truly on, if it wasn't on before. And it certainly was. Lap 17, and Barry Sheene gives the traditional sign to Kenny Roberts as he goes ahead of him on that section of the course. And now Roberts has responded by retaking the lead. Hartog is still third. Ferrari is still fourth. Behind Ferrari, it's still Bert van Dulmen in fifth position. Christian Saron is sixth. In seventh position, Franco Uncini, and in eighth place, Philippe Poulon, the Frenchman. Woodcote, end of lap 17. Roberts and Sheen. Sheen is going to challenge again. He's alongside Roberts. He's going to have the inside line as they go to Copse, but not inside enough. Skirting the concrete dust and the oil beneath it. Kenny Roberts and Sheen both look over their shoulders at the same time. Sheen's got nothing to be worried about, but Kenny Roberts most certainly has, because Barry is not that far behind him on lap 18. If it goes on like this, the last lap, the 28th lap, is going to be something to see. And it will be interesting, too, to see what speed they are lapping at in comparison with the fastest lap in practice of Kenny Roberts, 1 minute 29.8, and in comparison with Kenny Roberts' lap record, which must have been shattered already, 1 minute 31.4, which is a speed of 115.3 miles an hour. Johnny Cecotto is out of the race. His bike was handling badly. The rear end was weaving. So that's Cecotto out, Katayama out, Mick Grant out, but very much in. Roberts, number one, the leader. Sheen, number two, in second place. And Barry Sheen, riding his heart out after a rotten season for him, comes down to Woodcote on lap 18. This is where Sheen took the lead before. I don't think he'll do it on this lap because he's not close enough. And start the stopwatch to tell you how quickly they are going on this lap. And news is that there is rain on the far side of the circuit. Let's watch the surface very closely indeed. I said earlier on that there was rain at Birmingham, which was moving across towards Silverstone. if that is true, and I see no reason why it isn't, it's going to be very bad news, because that is exactly what happened last year in the British Grand Prix at an earlier stage than this, admittedly, and we're looking at Roberts and Sheen battling for the lead on lap 19 out of 28. They are, of course, on slick tyres, absolutely no tread at all. The grip of these tyres depends on the surface of the track being dry and abrasive. It is both at the present moment, but if there is any water at all, it's going to add a thin film of lubricant to the surface, which is exactly what happened last year, with disastrous effects as results as far as the positions in the race were concerned. A win last year for Kenny Roberts, who came in and changed both his wheels under the leadership of Kel Carruthers, his team manager. Barry Sheene went down to third position, and Steve Manchin finished in second place by virtue of starting the race on intermediate tyres and being able to go non-stop. This is lap 20 out of 28, and no sign of moisture on the surface, mercifully. Behind these battling two, a titanic scrap for the lead, there is no change, with Hartog, the Dutchman, in the white leathers, dropping back all the time, but absolutely secure for 10 points in the World Championship if he holds his present third place, as Roberts and Sheene come down the Hangar Straight, and Sheene on the inside line. This could be good news for him as they heel over. It could affect things coming out of Stowe, going down towards Club. It's still Virginio Ferrari in fourth place on the Suzuki, who is in second place in the World Championship. It is still Van Dulman, the Dutch rider from Aberkek, who is in fifth position, and behind Van Dulman it is still Franco Uncini, the Italian, in sixth place. So Suzuki second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth, and only one Yamaha in the first six places, but it's in the best position because it's in the lead. And there it is, number one, Kenny Roberts, closing up on 47. Tony Rutter, the very experienced British rider, English rider, who comes from the Potteries, who has won, not one, but several TTs in his time, and has just been lapped, no less, by Roberts and Sheene. And both these two, of course, know exactly what the score is. They will know from constantly looking over their shoulder that there is no one else in the race as far as the two of them are concerned. They will know that the winner is going to be one or other of them. They will know from their pit signals, and Sheene challenges again. They will know from their pit signals, Kenny Roberts for Kel Carruthers, and Sheene leads. And even there, over the noise of the engines, you can hear the cheer of the crowd as they egg Barry Sheene on. If ever there was a rider with the crowd behind him, it's Barry Sheene at Silverstone today on lap 20 as they come to Woodcote, and Kenny Roberts overlapping Sheene as they go into the corner, but now back a bit past the grandstand and a cheering crowd. Barry Sheene leads, and it's the third lap that he has led. Sheene leading, and it looks as though this could well be the first time that Sheene has led on two successive laps, with the exception of laps 15 and 16. And if Sheene can keep going, Roberts will only end up with 12 points, but that could almost be enough to guarantee the World Championship of 1979 for him, because Roberts is 7 points ahead of Virginio Ferrari, who is still in fourth position. And Roberts goes ahead of Sheene as they go under the bridge. Is he going to be able to hold it as they heel over? Yes, indeed he is. And again, Barry Sheene has been cheated of the lead as they cross the line, and that's where the race finishes. They are on lap 23 now. Roberts nearly went onto that concrete patch there. And what an indication of what a very, very cool rider. And is that Hartog? That's Hartog behind Sheen. Will Hartog is putting in a tremendous burst and he's closing up on Barry Sheen. Will Hartog, who was some 5 seconds behind these two in the closing stages of the race, is piling on the power and he's caught right up with the two in front of him. Barry Sheen on a work Suzuki like Hartog that you're looking at now. Number 3, the Dutchman from Aberkek, the grass farmer who won at Hockenheim. And it looks as though Hartog, if he goes the way he is going now, could end up winning this race. He's caught up a tremendous amount in terms of time and distance on Sheen and Roberts. Sheen second, Roberts leads, Hartog third. First, second and third go round the right-hander. They're absolutely together. The end of lap 23 at Woodcote. 28-lap race. And between Roberts and Hartog, there is very considerably less than a second. You can see how close it is. And Hartog is some 18 seconds ahead of Virginio Ferrari. 15 points for a win in the World Championship. 12 for second, 10 for third. And Hartog takes Sheen. No, he doesn't. He drops back. Very, very close. Sheen just held him off. And Sheen goes through. It's incredible the way they close right up and then have to drop back. So Roberts holds the lead. Barry Sheen still in second place. Lap 24 out of 28 down the Hangar Straight, which is the fastest part for Kenny Roberts on the Yamaha. And quietly, Will Hartog cut that distance down between himself and Sheen with an absolutely incredible ride, and there's absolutely nothing in it as they go round Stowe for the 24th time. There's the Dutchman. Yamaha, Suzuki, out of Club Corner, up towards Abbey. 150 miles an hour. Under the bridge, fastest point of the course. Shut off quick, down into Woodcote. Robert Sheen, Hartog. Start lap 25. Cops Corner. Just a flick of concrete dust as Roberts' front wheel hit it. Sixth gear. 145 miles an hour. Maggots. Straighten it up, down through the box. Fifth, fourth, third, second gear. Beckett's. 7,500 RPM, 65 miles an hour. Roberts, Sheen, Hartog. Up through the gears. Third as they go into Chapel. Fourth, fifth, sixth. 11,000 RPM, 160 miles an hour. Down to Stowe. Fifth, fourth, third gear, 100 miles an hour. Hartog, ahead of him, Sheen and Roberts. Fifth gear, 150 miles an hour. Down to third for Club, 100 miles an hour, the right-hander. Now up through the box again. To fourth, to fifth, to Abbey, the left-hander, sixth gear. 10,300 RPM. And into Woodcote at the end of lap 25 out of 28. Now, two tail-enders going to be lapped. Past 52, Corradi Tutsi they go. Up to number 53, Henk de Vries, and past him go Roberts and Sheen, and Roberts goes straight through the oil patch. Hartog has been held up. Hartog has been held up by de Vries, but he's past him. And now he's got to regain that distance he's lost to Barry Sheen, who's in second place there on lap 26. after this lap, lap 27, and then into the last lap 28, and Sheen riding up alongside the outside of Kenny Roberts, who's got the tighter line and holds his lead as he goes into the left-hander at Chapel and down the hanger straight again for the 26th time. Ferrari is still 4th, Van Dulman is still 6th, Saron 5th, Saron is still 6th, in 7th position it's still Coulon. And Hartog pulling away from Ferrari. It was 18 seconds, it's now 23. But Hartog, who was held up by Henk de Vries, is going to have his work cut out to catch Barry Sheene, let alone get past him, let alone catch Kenny Roberts, let alone take the lead. And he is on the last lap but 2, coming up to complete lap 26 into lap 27, and the last lap is 28. Roberts, the gap between Roberts, the leader, and Hartog in 3rd place is 1.41 seconds as they go under the bridge and down to Copse on lap 27. The pit signals are going out. Roberts looks over his shoulder. He sees Barry Sheene there. Barry Sheene looks over his shoulder and sees further behind him than he is behind Kenny Roberts, the Dutch rider Will Hartog. This is Beckett's. Chapel, Roberts, Sheene, Hartog. American, Englishman, Dutchman, Yamaha, Suzuki, Suzuki. Hanger straight into Stowe Corner. Ice cool Kenny, King Kenny they call him. Arguably, certainly one of the greatest riders of all time, and definitely, I think, the greatest all-rounder of all time, because he has been AMA champion, American Motorcycle Association champion, and that means that you have to be able to ride speedway and their kind of TT racing, which is very different to ours, and be a real all-rounder. And they're coming up to Woodcote at the end of lap 27 to start lap 28, and with that tail ender in front of Barry Sheene, now Kenny Roberts goes through 0.69, 69 hundredths of a second ahead of Sheene, and that could well have decided the race in favour of Kenny Roberts, because Barry Sheene is just far enough behind Roberts, I think. Roberts even stands on the rest a little to look back there, but again he's got 2 tail enders in front of him, and Barry Sheene is indiscernibly gaining. Roberts into Beckett's. Sheene behind him. Roberts goes through on the inside of the tail ender, and the tail ender looks to me very much like Gianni Rolando, the Italian rider. Roberts is past him, Sheene is past him, down the hanger straight for the last time, the 28th time in this 28-lap race, into Stowe Corner for the last time at 100 miles an hour. It's going to be one of the closest Grand Prix finishes for a very, very long time. Sheene is far enough ahead of Will Hartog not to have to worry about the Dutchman as they go to Club Corner. The last but one right-hander on the circuit, because they're coming up to Abbey, and is Barry Sheene going to be able to do anything about it? I doubt it. But Kenny Roberts goes into Abbey. It's that close, you can hardly divide them on the stopwatch. From Abbey up to Woodcote, underneath the bridge is going to be tremendously close as they go into the last corner of the race. This is it, at 130 miles an hour. The checkered flag is out. Kenny Roberts and Barry Sheene is gaining. And there is less than a machine's length in it, with a fantastic race, with Will Hartog finishing in 3rd place. And Kenny Roberts won the 1979 Marlborough British Grand Prix at record speed, undoubtedly having shattered the lap record by less than a, there he says, phew, as he shakes his hand. That was indeed, he says, a very close run thing. Barry Sheene has every reason to feel absolutely delighted.